Nice to have you here.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
And George, you have a perspective different from all of us. Anita is a lawyer. I'm a media in the media business. What's hot right now is about the national security something.
Right.
Yeah. We have a guy, Edward Snowden.
Right.
Popping up. Produce some of the documents proving some point. What is that, Anita?
I don't know what he has got on hand, first of all. I've been following up the story since last week.
Mm-hmm.
I was in bed. I was listening to the news before I came to America. And it's so interesting. So Facebook, Yahoo, Google is all being providing information to the US government, surprisingly.
Yeah.
And I always have this strange feeling it's not safe to use Facebook, to use Google, to use anything, any sort of cyber facilities provided freely. And I always have an inkling the American government is hacking into the system.
I think Snowden's biggest contribution by revealing the hacking activity by the NSA puts a balance in this controversy between U.S. and China. Up to now, U.S. has always been accusing China of doing all the hacking, and China has always said, well, we're not the only one doing hacking, and what Snowden has proven
In a substantiating.
right way that NSA, in particular this Taylor Access Operation, TAO,
Yeah.
the American DAO, American way, okay,
Yeah.
as opposed to Chinese DAO, has been hacking into Chinese servers since 2009, which is the reason, I think, that makes this argument and controversy between U.S. and China so complex and so subtle and so difficult. It no longer gives Obama the moral high ground to say you should behave. It's almost typical of most U.S. foreign policy, which is do as I say, not as I do. Drones, the nuclear weapons, landmines, you name it, all these things, U.S. has this approach, which is that don't do what I do what I say you should do.
Okay.
Very, very difficult concept to sell to the rest of the world.
In preparing this topic, last night I looked at the TV. There's a commercial about the cars, luxury one. Said the ultimate power is control. You mean somebody is in a control table,
Yeah.
trying to not only control the intelligence operation within the United States, also around the world.
Yeah.
Anita,
So
what do you think?
I don't like the way the American government is conducting it, because on the one hand, they always complain the Chinese has put such a hindrance on freedom of speech. You're not allowed to talk freely. There's always curtailment on Facebook, Yahoo, etc. There's no sort of freedom in expressing oneself in China. But on the other hand, they're hacking into the private affairs of the day-to-day life of everybody who'll be using Facebook, Google's, and Yahoo.
So that means, Anita, you are free to speak freely. Just remember somebody is listening.
There's always somebody hacking, listening. Even I talk about gossip between women's affairs. Nice handbag,
Yeah.
nice dress,
Yeah.
nice shoes, bitching each other. They're gaining into my personal affairs. Is that fair? Is that the way? Is it the way that democracy is all about?
I think in the current world that we live in, the fear of terrorism and all that, I can sort of sympathize and understand why NSA would want to be listening in. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
So, from my personal point of view, is that whatever I say or whatever I do on the phone calls or internet, simply assume that somebody will be listening in. Don't assume that you're not being listened in. Assume you're going to be listened in.
Yeah. That's part of the reason we should be kind of nervous or kind of.
Not so
The
much.
entire world should freeze a little bit, if we want to.
Well, you should just remember, don't say anything or do anything that you will regret.
Okay.
Okay, with the understanding that somebody's going to know that you're doing it.
Just
Because
as if any conversation is
Right.
recorded behind your back.
this is the
Yeah.
world that we live in now. You know, it's this all
Yeah.
interconnection and all this cyberspace and all that stuff. You know, it's what you just, it's a given that if you say something, somebody will hear you. So don't say anything that will come back to haunt you. That's all.
A lot of people, first, in the first place, especially Americans, not Americans, don't have an international perspective, probably believed before this event, before this, upcoming, that, they are safe and then the government is somehow gonna really kind of protect their privacy. But my personal experience back 20 years ago in Washington, D.C. as a correspondent, no, I was told at the time the entire Washington area, big one, including part of Virginia, part of Maryland, that is on the radar. That everything, physical movement or telecommunication, whatever the way. But today, there is a point that everybody is on the radar.
But they're
Everybody.
not working well. Look at the Boston bombing, right? You've got such good surveillance exercises, surveillance activities going on daily,
but
every day. You do not prevent the act
No,
of
no.
terrorism
But
at all in America.
but if
even
you-
in your own states.
Well, if I were a spokesman from NSA, and they have said this, yes, we didn't prevent the Boston bombing, but we have prevented dozens of others that you wouldn't know about, because they can claim. It's like two drunks walking down the street, and one of them is doing this, and the other one says, "Why are you doing this?" He says, "To chase away all the pink elephants." How do you know it works? See, no pink elephants around. That's same logic, okay?
And also, when a system is in place, this kind of undertaking is in place, they can claim, I personally don't have the liability.
Yeah.
Because, I've already in place, I don't prevent, that's part of the system, maybe imperfect. Where's the perfect one?
Well, actually, I have another thought about the NSA spying on all of us.
Okay.
This country is run by lawyers. We are overrun by lawyers, including Anita here, who's a lawyer,
Hong
okay?
Kong, right?
But Hong Kong lawyer. Maybe Hong Kong lawyers are not as bad as American lawyers. But
We are less.
I tell you, if the day comes when one of us
Yeah.
get in trouble for something we said that NSA had gotten overheard,
Yeah.
some lawyer will come to defend the principle that our civil rights was violated.
Yeah.
And that will be our saving grace from all this mess that's being created right now about cyber espionage.
How about I have a scenario. If tomorrow, if I go home right after this, type into the search engine like a terrorist or bomb or something, look at the possibility, Google gonna send me up, pass over the message to somebody,
Yeah,
NSA, then I'm screwed up.
yeah.
Screwed up.
But, but you were looking for trouble when you did that. You should know better. You should not be on a keyboard typing things about terrorism because you know that will raise your profile. Now, if you're just typing a message about, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? Should we play golf? And you get in trouble with
Okay.
that, then the lawyer will come to your defense. But
Okay.
if you go and type in, hey, let's overthrow the U.S. government, what do you think? You're going to get in trouble.
Okay, how about if I'm 16, I'm doing homework,
Yeah.
I'm doing that.
Well,
Wow.
depending on the circumstance, right, lawyer?
Just one interesting thing, one very interesting thing. The American government so far has never denied this espionage or the hacking activities. There's no denial. There's never any spokesman coming out saying, "Oh, this is a fabrication by a madman called Snowden." There's no such a thing.
No.
In fact, they backtracked it. This is my observation. And on the other hand, they said Edward Snowden has actually breached the law, the security law.
Yeah.
In other words, so indirectly, the
That's a very
American
good
government
point.
is admitting they've been carrying out surveillance activities on all aspects of life. This is a direct admission or indirect admission,
Right.
however you viewed it. And this is always, the American government always has a spokesman coming in saying, "Oh, it's not happened, it's not the way you think."
Well,
This time, no one.
since 9/11, 2001, the whole character of the American society, attitude and way of conduct has changed.
Yeah.
The Bush government started all this NSA hearing, violating the American civil rights on the justification that it's anti-terrorism, and most of the American people accepted it
Yeah.
as the way to go.
It's the way of your life. in
Is the way
America.
is the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
yeah. And this is so it's been going on for what 12 years now, since 2001, and it's really a question of very serious concern that the American people will have to deal with, which is how much civil rights of their civil rights are they willing to give up? How much government invasion of privacy are they willing to give up? This question
It's always
is up
a
in the air.
balancing exercise, right?
Yeah.
In a sort of common law way of how we
And
approach
and
it.
and there's a big part of the American population that truly believes that they would rather be safe, even if and their attitude is, well, if they're going to invade my privacy, that's okay. I'm a well-behaving, law-abiding
But
citizen.
the thing is, we're not just talking about the way of life in America. We're talking about hundreds of millions of other people living in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Europeans, Asian, Chinese, everybody's using Facebook.
Why, the
You
American.
have a risk of leaking out your personal information to the U.S. government.
Well, excuse me for saying this because I'm not a participant on Facebook, but anyone who joins and participates in Facebook is already saying, "Look at me," okay? They're bearing themselves to the public already. What's so secret about their private lives? There's no secret if you're in the Facebook type of social media.
Yeah.
You're telling everybody about yourself.
But most people probably never think about this one. And then the entire world, especially Asian
But never
nations.
mind about Facebook. In your emails, Yahoo's
Yeah,
email. I use
yeah.
Yahoo
Yeah.
emails, personal account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even, faced, the direct conversation, whatever. It's all been recorded. You have a storage of information of all the conversations, all the emails you have.
Yeah.
This might be commercial that could be used as a way of business in your life.
That's why discretion rules.
Yeah.
You must be discreet about your personal life and
Yes.
personal conduct.
But on the other hand, from a lawyer's point of view, I'm a Hong Kong lawyer, I've been following the news. It's interesting because it's confirmed with my belief. All the information that's been shown on Facebook, Yahoo's, I always have this belief it's all been hacked. It's
Yeah.
all been always someone listening to. Now, with this belief I have, I live in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I'm not an American citizen. So, but the American government is now intruding into my data. Is it fair?
Oh, okay. From legal perspective, it's already kind of intruding.
Is intruding the day-to-day life of citizens in
Yeah.
Hong Kong,
But-
wherever it is, wherever outside in the United States.
But liability is about the Google.
But Google
wait.
never warned us,
Right,
right?
right, yeah.
If Google warns us in the first place, if
Yeah.
Yahoo warns us in the first place, and Facebook also, you have a risk that you're liable to be hacked by a third
But
party.
excuse me,
I have a
Anita.
choice.
Excuse me. The gravity of the situation of invading your privacy is tiny infraction comparing to, for example, I'll give you a very simple example. The indiscriminate use of drones to kill people at random in Pakistan, in Yemen, or in elsewhere. Now, how do you think those people feel about their invasion of their civil rights? They get killed by these flying drones in the U.S. What you are pointing out is really the imperial power of the United States. They can do anything they want around the world, and that's a fact.
So
That's a fact.
are you saying, George, so every citizens in the world,
Yeah.
every living human beings in the world
Yeah.
have to be accountable to the American government? Are you saying this?
Not accountable, but accept the fact that
The reality.
the reality, whether you like it or not, the American government is in your life, and that's the fact.
Not in my life.
And
I don't think
as,
so.
as long as you participate in Facebook or Google or anything else, they're going to be in your life, and whether you like it or not, you can't do anything
I
about
think
it.
that's one thing, all right? We can leave that aside. Personally, fine.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
I
yeah.
give up my privacy. What about they keep asking the Chinese government, oh, mind your freedom of speech?
Yeah,
Yeah.
What about that?
yeah.
Can they
Yeah.
do something to address that point?
That there's only one word to summarize what you just said, and that word is hypocrisy. Okay,
Hypocrisy.
it's hypocrisy.
They're all
I mean,
different.
that's the problem for being the world's superpower.
Yeah.
I submit. When you are the only superpower, you frequently have to speak from many corners of your mouth. One corner you
yeah.
say one thing, another corner you say something else. Okay? It may be contradictory, but when you boil it all down, it comes to one word: hypocrisy.
That's what Edward Snowden said. He was kind of disappointed.
Yeah.
Disappointed. But the problem, track back, as you said, in at least in 9/11, right?
Yeah.
And also probably NSA, historical perspective, was the result of Pearl Harbor. No, actually, America was kind of ashamed, embarrassed, by the surprise attack by Japanese.
Yeah, that's
And then it created NSA. But over years, the NSA has never been in such a position, try to track down each and everybody, not only Americans.
Yeah, yeah, you have a point about going all the way back to Pearl Harbor, but I think what truly changed the mission and attitude is 9/11. Okay.
Yeah.
And what happened as a result of 9/11 is that there is this American paranoia that pervades and overcomes all the other things that they do. And I submit what George W. administration did to the United States far exceeded Bin Laden's own expectation. Bin Laden could not have anticipated the self-destruction policies that Bush started. Right? And that's really, I believe, I may not live long enough to see it, but I believe that history will show the beginning of the true decline of the American empire, if you will, started with the policies the U.S. took as a result, in response to 9/11. So in that overall scheme of things, Anita, the invasion of your privacy is a very tiny infraction compared to all the
Yeah,
other things
the
that the
big
U.S.
picture.
is doing.
But the invasion is just not into my life, right? It's to the rest of the world.
Yeah,
Europe,
Yeah.
Asia, Africa, everywhere.
yeah. But when you have that much data coming in to the NSA as a result of all this hacking, there's no way that they're actually going to go microscopically examine all these little things. They're trying to, they are using so-called data mining technique, trying to find the real bad guys.
I hope it works, right?
Yeah.
I wish them best of luck. I hope it works. I hope it helps killing terrorism.
I really hope that one not only help American, probably if they have kind of a credibility problem, they should serve the world with the
To
same
serve the
system.
world, China as well, all these terrorist problems.
And also Europeans,
Yeah,
right?
Europeans.
Especially
All the
Europeans.
world. I
Yeah.
wish them luck.
They are
What they say.
politically so close. Why they don't do service to the world?
Yeah, well, the cost. Actually, I don't know if we're going to get off topic in this point, but the cost of being the superpower in the world is very expensive, very expensive. Every year, the American federal budget goes into the red deeper and deeper because it tries to be the only superpower. And what happens when you get deeper and deeper? They have to borrow more money. And who do they borrow from? China is one of the big lenders, right?
So you guys pay more tax,
It
huh?
makes no sense. Well, in the end, we would be paying more tax, but actually, the people who are really going to be paying the price of this accumulated deficit is going to be my grandkids. All that debt will come in by the time my grandkids are in the career and paying taxes. So I see the long-term prospect of this country to be I'm very pessimistic.
So it's be very expensive to live here in the future.
Not only expensive.
We're all going to go to Hong
economically.
Kong. It's only 17% tax, right?
A
Well, it depends
corporate
on what
tax
you work.
person.
It depends on what you work. Whether you own a company,
Yeah.
or you're self-employed, or you're an employee.
Oh, what's the tax rate otherwise?
I'll ask my accountant. I can do my
Okay.
taxes.
Okay. As far as we know, that coming September, NSA has another big facility coming up in near Salt Lake City. They're gonna, big, huge kind of database out there. They're gonna store everything, the world around. Okay, but in near future, Anita, do you see what would be the scenario down the road for Snowden?
Snowden, I'm more interested in his personal life, actually, from a human rights lawyer's point of view. I've been doing a couple of immigration cases lately. So I think Snowden may have chosen a wrong place to land in Hong Kong. Because, yes, freedom of speech, yes. American and China relationship, yes, another factor to be taken into account. Because of this, what we called hypocrisy here. But never mind. What I think is, would Snowden be safe to land in Hong Kong? But because even prior to 1997, before the handover, a extradition treaty had been signed between the two places.
I think it was 1998.
19, whatever.
Yeah.
But these would carry into effect. So, in other words, the American government is admitting. Yes.
Yeah, but this is good news for you lawyers because it's going to be more work defending it.
But the thing is, no, because we're trying to upgrade the refugee law in Hong Kong. The immigration law is very unclear.
Well, let me ask you this: where should he have gone?
Yeah,
He should have gone to China, I think.
Oh, that would create a lot of problems.
That would create a lot of problems. That would be fun. There'll be lots of fun coming up. In Hong Kong, you're not saying
newsworthiness, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would create a lot of problems between Beijing and Washington.
Oh, that's their problem. As reader, all right, as a daily readers of newspapers, there'll be lots of fun. There'll be lots of news to read over time. In Hong Kong, back to this point about we will be safe. Yes, I don't think the American government can get an assassinator to kill him off. No, they can't. We'll be safe in Hong Kong until the American government issued a warrant of arrest.
And then
through the Hong Kong government, the Department of Justice will take the matter up. But the thing is,
how long can he delay the process?
Quite long, actually. Well, I don't know what law Snowden has breached in America. I have no idea. I've not checked against the American security law. But in Hong Kong, you only have common law of treason, common law that dates back to the colonial era. And under the basic law in Hong Kong that's promulgated after 1997, they are trying to advocate the legislation of certain treason or espionage law, but that's not been successful. So you don't have that's not been codified. You can only use common law.
As an American citizen, I don't plan to defect. But if I deflect to Hong Kong, I'm gonna look for you, look you up.
Thank you. And just to wrap up, you need to, on the one hand, you breach American law, and if you want to apply for extradition, that this man retrieved back to your own country of origin, you need to have parallel law in Hong Kong.
Okay.
I don't know whether the common law of treason can actually work in favor of the American government.
Of course not.
I don't know. I have no idea. It's not been done. There's never been such a test case before.
So if I may, before we wrap up the whole half segment, I'd like to just summarize and point out one thing that it's important for the viewers to remember and keep in mind. Who, after all, invented the internet?
Okay, American.
The United States.
Must be
The DARPA. Right? Was actually a defense agency.
Defense agency.
Who is the most advanced in developing cybersecurity and cyber attack and cyber
American.
It's the U.S. So when the U.S. talk about Huawei providing routers that with all the way everything built in, all the infiltration web route gates open in there. How do they know this? Because they know that's how they do it. That's what Snowden said. U.S. attacked the routers in the various backbones in various parts of the world to get access to this massive data. So in this cybersecurity argument, the most authoritative voices are coming from America because they are the leaders in the practice. And that's the important thing to remember.
Okay. But down the road, do American government they really stop doing this?
No, I don't think they will.
Do they regret, hiring somebody like Snowden, or just regret that, the policy is not in place?
There's hundreds of thousands of employees involved, engaged in this kind of work. There's no way that they could weed out the potential Snowdens. Inevitably, there will be a Snowden In fact, U.S. has a perfect term for this, whistleblower.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
and it's in the American character, really, to be a whistleblower when they see something is wrong, and they stand up and say, "I believe this is wrong." It takes a lot of guts to do that, but there will be people that will do that even after Snowden. Snowden is just one of many.
Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
coming up, produce the stories, providing for the stories.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you had Manning in the Army,
Yeah.
you had, the WikiLeaks, the people that provide material to WikiLeaks. In a way, that's what a democratic society should work. Some checks and balances from the mass
Yeah,
participation, right? You agree?
I agree with that.
But
That's
if
very
they are
important.
not, if they don't feel sorry about everything,
Yeah.
that all the users of Yahoo and the Gmail probably should regret.
Well, I guess. All I'm concerned is about the safety of Snowden. I'm more interested in his personal safety as whether the law in Hong Kong, the laws in Hong Kong generally, can afford him any protection.
Okay.
I'm more interested in that aspect.
So a lot of things will be coming up,
I
right?
think so, from a human rights point of view.
Okay,
He can
but,
apply for refugee,
oh, really?
should he meet some criteria.
Okay. Does he probably have a credibility problem here?
I don't think there's any credibility problem here. I
Okay.
don't think so. The government has never denied or rebuffed any of the allegations
Yeah.
of the American government. I have no credibility in issues.
How does,
think-
how does the Hong Kong law regard a person that is acting in his conscience?
Acting in conscience, there's a few ways, all right? Never mind about conscience, we don't care about conscience.
We don't,
It's
okay.
whether you fit into the very backward refugee laws in Hong Kong. It's very undervalued, very untidy. You can go for Convention number 3 in the United Nations. Convention number 3 is against inhuman, degrading treatment and torture and things like that. If you go back to the American states or anywhere of the American territories, you could be tortured or subjected to degrading and inhuman treatment and things like that. You can apply under that convention.
Okay.
But whether you succeed or not is another matter. It takes years. Right. But if you say,
Lots of room for maneuver.
yep, lots
Okay,
of
for,
movement.
for the moment,
Before the extradition process to be succeeded by
for the
American-
moment, let's kind of imagine who is edgy. Snowden, American government, who
Who
else?
is what?
Being edgy,
American.
American government.
I just have one more observation I have here. This very dark fellow brother, UK. I've been reading lots of news about it, been following the news since last week. The UK's been very quiet. Been very, very quiet.
Well, it was a UK paper that broke the news about Snowden.
Yeah,
Guardian
UK,
was
The
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 first one
Guardian
about.
went over to the Hong Kong
Yeah,
hotel, right?
yeah.
Apart from the Guardian, the Parliament has been very quiet over to the back.
So why do you think that is?
Just because the
They're doing the
UK,
same.
they're sucking up to the Americans.
I probably think
I
they're
think so.
doing the same.
Well, not the American people, the American government.
Government, yeah,
Obama's government.
yeah.
Okay.
So they're very keep quiet.
Well, if they weren't, as you say, sucking up to the government, what would they do? How would they, you think they would have applauded Snowden's action
They're very-
otherwise?
Just keep silent.
Yeah, I know.
Let's just let's see what's the development will be in the
I see,
future.
yeah.
Okay.
The European, what we call the European nations, the rest of the nations, say France or Germany people, might not be happy with this. The
No,
European
because
nations-
the NSA is equal opportunity hacking. They hack everybody, including the Germans
Yeah.
and the
Germans,
French and the
French.
Brits, everybody,
Everybody.
right?
yeah, everybody.
Yeah.
in the
Especially
world.
Germans, probably more kind of,
There's more competition,
sensitive to
competitive.
privacy.
Well, there's
issues.
more competition
French.
between the German industries and the American industry. So they probably look at some of the German
Yeah.
activity with great deal of interest.
Yeah.
So,
So I'd
it's
like
natural.
to hear how the American government, the Obama government, to react.
Live up to itself, to
How do
Europeans, they
account
divert.
for this hypocrisy problem here. They're very hypocritic. How do they explain in the future? We're so embarrassed.
More questions than answers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's very embarrassing.
Huh?
Okay.